She helped a hungry elder. Hours later, the CEO said, "That's my father." The wind carved down the empty streets of a northern mill town, flinging powdery snow in sharp spirals. Ava Miller hunched into her thrift store coat, one hand bracing the scarf at her throat, the other holding the mittened fingers of her 4-year-old, Noah. Their boots squeaked over crusted ice, each breath a white ghost in the blue morning. "I'm cold." "Mommy," Noah whispered, cheeks cherry red. "I know, buddy. Almost there," she murmured, squeezing his hand. The preschool was 4 blocks from the drafty duplex where pipes rattled and the furnace coughed more than it warmed. It was what they could afford. Mornings, Ava poured coffee in a roadside diner. Afternoons, she scrubbed floors for cash. Every step was powered by quiet resolve. After a kiss at the preschool door, she turned toward the diner, tugging her knit cap lower. Storefronts slept behind frosted glass. Only people with no choice walked in weather like this. That's when she saw him. At first, he looked like a collapsed drift near the bus shelter. Then he moved. An elderly man, barefoot in soaked socks, a coat hanging off narrow shoulders, buttons missed, eyes unfocused, shivered in place, lips moving. Ava slowed. "Sir?" she said gently. "Do you need help?" He blinked as if surfacing. His voice was papery. "It's his birthday. He's 6. I promised cake. I have to find him." Cars hissed by on slush. A dog walker kept going. No one stopped. Ava stepped closer and touched his sleeve. His skin felt like glass. "You're freezing. Come with me." She didn't wait for permission. She steered him toward the diner's fogged windows. Inside, warmth and the smell of bacon wrapped around them. A couple of regulars stared. The cook paused over the grill. Ava slid the man into the booth closest to the heater. "Tracy, oatmeal, toast, and a hot coffee, please." "I've got it," Ava called. "You don't need to." "I do." She returned to find him still murmuring. He asked for white frosting. "I said I was busy." I said no. His arms cinched tighter as if holding himself together. "What's your name?" Ava asked, sitting across from him. He blinked slowly. Harold Brooks." "Hi, Harold." "I'm Ava." He wrapped cold hands around the mug, sipped once, then again, as if heat reintroduced him to his body. Snowflakes collected on the pane as his gaze drifted. "I should have gone. Should have just bought the cake," he whispered. She took him to get it. "And the truck." His voice snapped. "I killed her." "Because I said no." Ava stilled. She didn't know who she was or what accident lived inside that sentence. She didn't need details to recognize grief that never thawed. She pressed a napkin into his shaking hand and left her palm over his for a heartbeat longer. "You're safe, Harold," she said softly. "I'm here." For an instant, his eyes cleared. He met her gaze and nodded, small and grateful. The doorbell jingled. A gust of icy air swept through. A tall man strode in, snow jeweling his dark hair and coat. He had the tension of someone built for boardrooms, not greasy spoons. Daniel Brooks hadn't slept in 2 days. The GPS ping from the tracking chip hidden in his father's old hearing aid had dragged him to this unfamiliar town. He scanned once and locked on the heater side booth. His father. Alive. With a young blonde woman leaning forward, spooning up oatmeal, steadying his shoulder with care. Daniel's alarm flared, then faltered. This wasn't exploitation. It was kindness. Something in his chest stumbled. Ava felt his presence and looked up. For a breath, the room shrank to 4 people. The cook, 2 strangers, and a man she had decided not to abandon. Harold beamed when he noticed Daniel. "There's my boy. It's his birthday. He's 6. We need a cake." Understanding passed between Daniel and Ava. "You're his son," she said quietly. Daniel nodded. "I'm Daniel." Ava slid aside so he could kneel at the booth and cover Harold's hand with his own. "Hi, Dad," he said, voice soft as wool. "I told her I'd find you," Harold said proudly to Ava. Ava set a refill on the table and gave them space. When Harold dozed against the warm window, Daniel spoke across the formica. "Thank you," he said. "No one else stopped, you did. That means more than I can say." "I couldn't walk past him," Ava said. She waited. Daniel stared into the coffee. "He wasn't always like this. Brilliant, funny. My mom adored him." Then he swallowed. "I turned 6 on a Friday. I wanted a cake. Dad said he was too busy. I begged. Mom took me anyway. Snow like today. A truck ran a light." His voice thinned. "I woke up." She didn't. Ava said nothing. Some silences must be honored. After that, he froze. Daniel continued. We never said her name or celebrated birthdays again. Ava glanced at Harold's sleeping face. Maybe he's still celebrating it in his mind, she murmured. Daniel blinked hard. I haven't cried in years. Ava slipped to the kitchen, returned with yesterday's chocolate slice, a candle trembling with flame. She set it in front of him. Happy birthday, she said. Harold's eyes popped open. Cake, he shouted, clapping off beat. Sing. Two regulars chuckled and hummed. Daniel stood abruptly and walked toward the restroom. Ava's smile fell. Had she misstepped? He returned with reddened eyes and shook his head. Don't apologize, he rasped. You gave me a moment I never got. Thank you. The sugar high ebbed. Quiet settled. Harold slept again, breath hitching. Daniel watched him, then turned. He shouldn't be outside. Do you live close? Ava asked. He's supposed to be in a memory care center about an hour away, Daniel said. They called it dawn, empty bed. He must have wandered out in the night. I'll transfer him to a safer place next week. For now, I need to take him back. Harold stirred, found Ava's wrist, and clung. Don't take me, he pleaded. Let me stay with her. She's kind. Daniel crouched, torn. Just for a few days, Dad, then I'll move you somewhere better. Ava met Daniel's eyes. He can stay at my place tonight, she said. It's small but warm. I'll feed him. You can check on him whenever. Conflict creased Daniel's brow. The plea in his father's face decided it. He nodded. All right. One night, Ava's duplex sat near the town line, the kind of rental that creaked with every gust. Wallpaper peeled, floors complained, but everything was clean. Noah's crayon masterpieces decorated the fridge. A chipped couch faced a crooked lamp. Lavender flickered from a cheap candle. Harold melted into the old recliner by the window. Snow closures kept Noah home. He peeked out from behind a blanket. Is he our grandpa? Noah whispered. He's our friend. Ava smiled. Mr. Harold. Noah patted over, serious. I can show you my dinosaurs. Harold chuckled and nodded. Daniel hovered near the door, too large for the tiny entry. Are you sure? He asked. I've had tougher days, Ava said. He cleared his throat. There's a motel 2 blocks away. I'll stay close. Suit yourself. He returned at dinner to the smell of stew. Harold listened to Noah explain meat eaters. Daniel sat stiffly until Ava placed a bowl in front of him. Eat while it's hot, she said. Something loosened in him. He ate like a person, not a CEO. He watched his father laugh. Watched Ava tap a stubborn salt shaker. Watched normal, after dishes Ava rinsed. Daniel silently took the towel. You don't have to, she said. I know. He tightened the back door handle, straightened the crooked lamp, replaced the blown bulb over the sink, small fixes. Each one noticed. Later, as Ava tucked Noah in, Mommy, I like Mr. Dan. A small warmth uncurled inside her. Not love, not yet, but something honest. She let it stay. That night, the porch glowed under falling snow. Ava sat wrapped in an old blanket, breath fogging. Through the frosty window, she heard Noah's laughter. Harold helped him with a puzzle on the rug. Do you think about your mom? Ava asked, eyes on the glass. Daniel's breath lifted in a slow cloud. Every day, he said. I've never forgiven myself. I begged for the cake. Dad said he was busy. I pitched a fit. Mom gave in. We didn't make it home. Ava's chest ached for the child still living inside the man. Maybe your father loved you so hard he forgot how to show it, she said. Maybe he was terrified he'd lose you too. Daniel didn't answer, but his shoulders eased. The next morning, while Ava brewed tea, he found a photo tucked behind Bill's. Ava in a simple white dress, one hand on a round belly. That day was my happiest and loneliest, she said from the doorway. We married because I was pregnant. Right choice on paper, wrong in the heart. What happened? He asked. He left, she said with a small, tired smile. But we got the best part. She nodded toward the living room. Noah slept on Harold's lap, old soul and new life folded together. That night, when the house finally stilled, Daniel worked quietly. He tightened the leaky pipe under the sink, fixed the squeaky cabinet, cleaned the stove's rusty parts, and replaced what he could from a toolbox in his trunk. At dawn, metal smelled like warmth. He left a note under a dinosaur magnet. This stove is ready for a birthday cake whenever you are. Ava found it bleary-eyed, the kitchen feeling different. She held the note and for the first time since he arrived, looked at Daniel with something open, trust beginning. Town lights blinked to life as December deepened. Garlands climbed porch rails, snow-trimmed rooftops, laughter threaded narrow streets. "Can I write my letter to Santa?" Noah asked, tugging at her sleeve. "Of course," Ava smiled. He scribbled at the table, tongue peeking out. Later, she found the crumpled note beside cookie crumbs. "Dear Santa, I only want one thing. Please send a real family with a dad and everything. I've been good. Love, Noah." She stood a long time. Daniel found her holding it and read without speaking. Something boyish and breakable flickered across his face. The next day he suggested they go into town. They bundled up, 3 figures moving like a small family. Noah chose a lopsided pine and loved it instantly. Back home they unearthed a shoebox of ornaments, chipped and mismatched. Noah clumped all the red ones on one branch. Daniel unwrapped a red glass globe. "My mom bought this our first Christmas," he said. "I've kept it." Together they hung it near the top. A heavy snow trapped them later that week. Harold was lucid by the fire, watching Daniel and Noah build a Lego train. "You're a good man," Harold said, voice clearer. Daniel looked up, startled. "You didn't learn that from me," Harold added. "She gave it back to you." His eyes flicked toward Ava. Daniel squeezed his shoulder. "You did your best," he whispered. Harold's hand tightened. "Don't lose her." That night, Daniel taught Noah simple coding on a laptop, colors and sounds popping to life. Ava watched from the doorway, heart full. She hadn't dared imagine this. Her son laughing, light in every room. A storm knocked the power out 2 nights later. The furnace sighed and died. Ava lit candles. Cocoa steamed on the repaired stove. Daniel sat beside her on the floor. He reached for her hand. She let him hold it, then slowly pulled away. "I'm scared," she said. "Beautiful things disappear. I built walls." "I understand," he said quietly. At first light she heard hammers outside. Daniel was bundled in his coat, assembling something by the aging shed. By noon he waved her out to see a tiny, insulated space. Little stove, beanbag, Noah's favorite books, and on the wall a snapshot of the 3 of them hanging the red globe. "You built this?" she asked. "For Noah," he said, setting a lantern on a shelf. "And for you." Snow dotted her scarf. Her eyes shone. "You don't have to say I love you," she murmured. "You already did." What arrived next wasn't weather. It wore perfume and a winter white coat and cost more than Ava's rent. Vanessa breezed into the cafe where Ava filled sugar jars and slid into the booth without asking. "You must be Ava," she said. "I'm Vanessa. Daniel's ex." Ava's spine straightened.
"He mentioned someone," she said evenly. "I had to see her, the small-town saint in the snow." Vanessa smiled without warmth.
"He's a CEO, not a stand-in dad. You know the difference between a story and real life?" Ava stood without replying. That afternoon, a crisis yanked Daniel back to the city. An investor wobbled. His team unraveled. He packed with reluctance. 2 days, he promised at the door. "You promise?" Noah asked. "I promise," Daniel said, ruffling his hair. Promises melt like snow. That night, Harold coughed hard. Fever climbed. Ava called the clinic, wrapped him in blankets, and kept vigil on the couch while Noah slept in a tangle beside her. "Is Mr. Harold okay?" Noah mumbled. "I hope so," she said. "Did Mr. Dan leave because of us?" "No," she lied. "Work." But doubt pinched, Vanessa's words echoing in the quiet he left behind. By afternoon, Harold drifted, muttering names and dates from a world that no longer existed. Snow began again. He woke and found Ava's hand. "Anna," he whispered, eyes glassing with love and regret. "I should have come home sooner. Should have bought the cake." "You were trying to help," she said, voice breaking. "Don't let him grow up cold," Harold pleaded. "Don't let him forget how to feel." Ava bowed her head and wept, not only for the fading man, but for the boy he raised and the man who carried silence like armor. Snow muted the town to a hush. Daniel returned into that hush, coat dusted white, heart pounding too hard. No answer at Ava's door. Curtains drawn. He slid a folded note into the jam. "I lost my mother. I almost lost my father. I can't lose the family I just found, not you and Noah." Ava read it by kitchen light, hands shaking. Morning broke bright, the world glittering. When she opened the door, she froze. Noah in blue coat and red mittens rolled a giant snowball. Beside him, Daniel, laughing as their snowman collapsed. They started again. "Mom, we're building hope," Noah shouted. Daniel met Ava's eyes and waited. She stepped into the yard. He crossed the space, not rushing, not pleading, and wrapped her in his arms. She let him. Not forever. Long enough to say maybe. He invited them to the city for a day. Noah cheered for the train. His company lobby was draped in lights. A piano hummed. A small stage stood with garland. Ava didn't know why they were there until Daniel stepped up, suit tailored. Expression changed, softer. This year taught me about time, regret, and the quiet power of kindness, he said, eyes finding Ava. I found something I thought I'd lost, a connection I didn't know I needed. Today I'm not talking about numbers. I'm thanking a woman who showed me strength looks like patience and gentleness. Ava's eyes stung. She and her son taught me that family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the hand that finds yours in a storm. He left the stage, came to her, and held out his hand. In a room of strangers and 1,000 tiny lights, she took it. Snow fell soft as the day they met. Daniel parked by the bus stop where Ava had first seen a barefoot man in the cold. Now Harold sat bundled in a wheelchair, scarf neat, hands tucked under a wool blanket. His breathing was thin, eyes bright for this moment. Ava stood behind the chair. Noah tucked against her. Daniel knelt with a bakery box, lifting the lid to reveal a plain chocolate cake with white frosting and a single red candle. I brought the cake, Dad, he said. I finally brought it. Harold's eyes shone. Daniel's voice shook. I have the cake. And I have you. And I want one more thing. He turned to Ava. A velvet box appeared in his cold red fingers. No microphone. No audience. Just snow and breath. It's not your birthday or mine, he said, kneeling. But today feels like the day to start over. Not pretending, not wishing. Living. I can't promise perfect. I can promise presence. I'll show up for you, for Noah, for us. Ava couldn't speak. She nodded, tears bright. Noah whooped and wrapped them both in a hug. Daniel drew them close, one arm around his future and one around the boy who had asked Santa for a dad. Harold chuckled, voice a soft rasp. Best cake yet, he said. Took you long enough, son. Daniel laughed through tears and squeezed his father's hand. 3 generations lingered there, bound by forgiveness, grace, and a love steadier than time. The snow kept falling, but it didn't feel cold. It felt like blessing. No grand wedding yet, no fireworks, just the quiet joy of a family finally fitting together. And in that wintry stillness, nothing outside them changed, but everything within them did. If this story stirred something in you, breathe it in, the small, steady magic of kindness, forgiveness, and second chances. For more soul-lifting narratives, subscribe to Echoes of Heart and tap the bell.